12 consecutive games here at home. As we welcome you back inside of Paycom Center and NG Thunder Live, I'm Paris Lawson, alongside the Thunder's very own Royce Young. And Royce, the Thunder going up against a really young Utah Jazz team. And what we saw from this group, I thought was great focus, execution, and discipline, really doubling down on the habits that they've built up to this point in the season.
Yeah, the Thunder looked very sharp early on in this one, the way that they executed in the half court. 40 points in that first quarter. You said it, Paris. Thought the focus level was really there for OKC off the jump, because some of these types of games, you can come out, you can start slow, you can let a young team build some confidence and some rhythm. The Thunder did a great job of turning the Jazz over and then executing their game plan offensively. Extreme efficiency from the Thunder throughout this game. Again, the 24 threes, but just the offensive execution was really pinpoint and sharp.
Yeah, an excellent job sprinting through the finish line of this 5-game homestand. Now 5-0 over this stretch here inside of Paycom Center. Let's bring in the voices on tonight's call, Chris Fisher and Michael Cage. And guys, this group, they were firing on all cylinders. What were your takeaways?
Firing indeed. They had their second biggest win of the season against the LA Lakers, and now, Michael, they get their highest scoring game of the season against the Utah Jazz. Tonight's game, it was all about the offense.
Yeah, man, this is a stat sheet wonder. I mean, you get 40 assists. That's going to do some damage on the scoreboard. You make 24 threes, yeah, that's going to double down on it. So it doesn't matter who you're playing. Anytime you got those kind of numbers, that's going to be quite impressive. And that's the efficiency of what the Thunder shot at. Well over 55% from the field, well over 53% from the three-point line. And then you throw in everybody just coming in. Once again, the bench was sensational. A couple of nights in this building against the Lakers, they got 73 points. They got 67 tonight. A quiet 67 for the Thunder bench, because the starters, all 5 scored in double figures. 7 scored in double figures together. So a total team effort here for the second final game of home game of the season.
Overall, Michael, what did you like about the 5-0 homestand? A lot of success here, some close games early on, a couple blowouts here in the last 2.
Well, just staying focused, continuing. You know, the Thunder just got healthy against Boston a couple of weeks ago. So just weaving and working everybody back into the lineup. Mark did a great job of just trying to figure out, how to play guys. Because now, first you were shorthanded. Now you got more than enough. That's another issue. And he's done a great job in his 5-game homestands, playing against some tough opponents, being able to figure out how you're going to work the first group, the second group, and now guys are kind of getting a feel for what they need to do or what to expect as the Thunder go on the road for their final 3 road games of the season.
That's just it. Final road trip coming up. Those 3 games starting on the West Coast against the LA Lakers. Paris and Royce, we'll let you guys take it from here.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're getting to that part of the season. We're hitting all the last. The final home stretch, the final road trip coming up. Chris and Mike, this won't be the last time we're seeing you. Thank you so much for chiming in. As always, great insights. A lot to take away from this game. If we thought the Thunder's last game against the Lakers was a good offensive performance with those 19 made threes, how about 24 here tonight for the Thunder against the Utah Jazz? So let's take it from the top and roll the tape, see how this game unfolded.
Start with, and then Kenrich added on top of it with the behind-the-back feed. But, Oklahoma City, again, just statistically speaking, this was a dominant performance. The bench points, the assists, the shooting numbers, the efficiency, everything about it was really impressive throughout the game for the Thunder, because the Utah Jazz had some good moments in the game. The Thunder never lost focus throughout it, continued to play well. Every lineup that stepped on the floor played great throughout the game. Every combination, and Mike and Chris were talking about it. Great opportunity for the Thunder as well, with getting a lot of healthy bodies back. These are very valuable games. You can't just take it for granted to look at the scoreboard, look at the opponent and say that's a win. This is great opportunity to learn, to grow, to build that chemistry up, because there's big games ahead for this Thunder team. And so the more opportunity this group gets together when they're as whole as they are, it's good experience.
Yeah, the Thunder are going to take every opportunity out here on the court to make sure that they are sharpening their blade to get ready for that postseason. No minute, take it for granted for Oklahoma City as we go through the end of this regular season. All right, let's get you over to the press room so you can hear from Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault postgame.
Mark, this is the kind of game that can, test professional concentration, focus through the 48. You've talked before about how playing with big leagues can be a challenge. How did you feel about, just the way your team came out from the very outset of this one and took care of business?
Yeah, I thought at a certain point the game got a little loose. and we got to get a little bit loose, but we didn't get loose and selfish. We were loose and unselfish all night. So it wasn't our most precise game, but I thought the spirit was really good, and we played no agenda basketball on most possessions. So that was really encouraging, that the guys were leaning on each other like that, moving the ball, making the right plays, trying to execute with a level of pace and precision. So I think we get something out of that.
Yeah, I was going to ask more specifically about that offensive execution with the season high in assists and just some of the, especially early in the game. I think you started 11 for 14, and every single look was clean. What did you make of just the intensity in which they were trying to execute the plays?
Yeah, I thought we ran our stuff really hard and really well. So that was encouraging. We got to a lot of different things tonight. And ripped through some stuff and took a look at a couple different things, and then our focus never wavered on the offensive end through that. And like I said, once we got the advantages, we moved the ball ahead of them really well. I thought, for the most part, we played really well.
What else we got? No one else for Coach? Y'all's got another?
We've seen this all season, so not new tonight, but Chet as a pretty elite play finisher for you all. How does, with the team fully healthy now and the playmakers that you have, how does that specific area of his game kind of help put some touches on what you all do?
Yeah, I thought he had a good scoring night, but he had a very fundamental game. He ran the floor really well and finished those plays. He spaced well, both around the basket and on the perimeter. He took his catch and shoots. He played quickly off the catch. And so I thought, as loud of a night as he had from a numbers standpoint, most of that came on, the vegetables and the meat. Not a lot of dessert. So I thought that was a really professional game by him.
Yeah, Coach. 7 assists for J-Dub in this one. Obviously, he's, working his way back in, finding his rhythm, but it seems like he's also managing to make people around him better in the process. Can you kind of just speak to that?
Yeah, I thought early in the game he was one of the guys that really got the thing moving for us. He punched the paint and found some really good sprays and made the right plays, and set a really good tone. And so it started with that group and continued for most of the game. I thought, like I said, there was a sharpness to the way we played. We played with pace and we were aggressive, but then we moved it out of the crowd and got the ball to the open spaces.
Yeah, Coach, Lou's always great defensively, obviously, but he's really finding his rhythm offensively right now, seemingly at the right time. Can you just kind of talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, he's relative to the way that he shot the ball the last couple of years, his shooting was down for most of the season, and he's had a little flurry here for the last X amount of games that he shot it exceptionally well and seems to have caught a nice rhythm. So he just needs to continue to take the predictable ones and bet on those. He's a good enough shooter that enough of those will go in, and you add that to his defensive impact, and he has strong two-end impact. In all the games, he's relevant in all the games because of the physicality, the defense.
You guys essentially have the same roster from last year, but one of the big differences is the development of AJ. Obviously, he played a little bit in the playoffs, but how much of a benefit or of a boost to this team is it going to add to have a third playmaker like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that. He's not even limited to that. I just think he's a really versatile player. He plays on ball, off ball. He can create his own. He can also play off of somebody else's creation. He's an excellent closeout player on offense. The pace of our team is faster when he's on the court. And then defensively, he's a versatile defender. He can guard the off-ball guys and do a good job in the help, and he can guard, creators. And we've put him on some pretty high-level guys at different points in the season. So because of that, he's a flexible player. He could be out there with just about anybody. And there's tremendous value in that.
Yeah, the beauty of this team just getting healthier and healthier. You just got more and more options to go to out there on the floor, on both ends of the floor for Oklahoma City. But the term that I wrote down from Coach Dagnall, Royce, I don't know about you, no agenda basketball by the Thunder. Great spirit in this game. He said it wasn't our most precise game, but I like the spirit that we played with.
Yeah, he talked about the intensity and the intentionality of the team. And again, that's something that was kind of the storyline coming into a game like this, where you're playing a team like the Utah Jazz that's young and they're rebuilding, and that you can kind of lose focus and you can come out slow like a turtle and not really get into your action. But when you really come out with a focus and an intensity, even if you're making some mistakes, the intentionality is there, and it can build up to good possessions throughout the entire game. And for this Thunder team, so much of it, we see it all the time. They try to play as hard as they can with as much focus as they can. And that's why they play so consistently over 82 games, and they've done it for a number of years now, which is quite remarkable.
Yeah, this team operates with just such surgical consistency. You wouldn't know what time of year it is with the energy that they're bringing out there on the court. They have a standard that they try to reach to every single night. Certainly got there in this matchup against the Utah Jazz here tonight. All right, stick with us here on Thunder Live. When we come back, we're breaking down the game of Chet Holmgren. 21 points, 4 made threes in this matchup. Picked up their 8th consecutive win against the Utah Jazz, and it was done in dramatic fashion, 146-111. And after the game, our very own Nick Gallo caught up with Chet Holmgren.
Chet, just so many different plays, was kind of feeling it. I also just love that he pointed out that the transition offense for the Thunder was operating at a very high level. The shell defense was in a great spot. That's why he was a beneficiary in the right spot at the right time, and a highly efficient night for Chet Holmgren.
Efficiency has really been one of the areas that has always been highlighted when it comes to Chet Holmgren. He doesn't need a lot of shots to go out there and make an impact in the game, and yet he does so every single night.
I mean, it's what makes him such a unique player in the NBA, and you need guys like this. You need guys that are operating within their role and in their system. But, I mean, Chet Holmgren is a star-level player that plays with the mindset to do his job, to do what it takes to win, and, contribute in so many different ways on the floor. We've seen him grow as a rebounder. We've seen him grow in his ability to take advantage of mismatches. Of course, the rim protection, the shot blocking, all that stuff is absolutely elite.
Yeah.
But Chet Holmgren is an improving player, and he does it because he's got the right mindset, because he wants to be additive to every lineup that he plays within.
It's so interesting. Coach Dagnall always talks about it's easy to forget that Chet Holmgren, he's still a developing player, but he's been so impactful that it's sometimes hard to remember that fact. But Chet continuing to improve and continuing to impact games left and right, certainly did so here tonight against the Utah Jazz. After this, the Thunder set out on their final road trip of the regular season. They're heading out to sunny Los Angeles to take on the Lakers for the second time in 3 games. More on this matchup and what you need to know when we come back after this. Work is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. What a way to wrap up this 5-game homestand for Oklahoma City. A dominant 146-111 victory over the Utah Jazz, now stretching that home win streak to 12 consecutive games. Well, a few games remain on this regular season schedule, and it includes the final road trip for Oklahoma City, who after this is going to head out to the West Coast to take on the Los Angeles Lakers on Tuesday before facing the Clippers on Wednesday, and then rounding out their road trip in Denver to take on the Nuggets on Friday. And then they return home for their final game of the regular season and the final home game of the regular season on Sunday as they square off against the Suns. So the next challenge for Oklahoma City, it is the Lakers, a team that the Thunder just faced here inside of Paycom Center a couple of days ago on Thursday. And you might remember that game because it was a very dominant performance by Oklahoma City, a 43-point win. And this Lakers team that the Thunder is going to face out in LA is going to look a little bit different than the one that they faced here a few days ago. No Luka Doncic, no Austin Reeves, but they still have a guy. His name's LeBron James that you really can't underestimate.
Yeah, unfortunately, those injuries to the Lakers, really tough spot in the season for those 2 injuries to happen, because those are 2 major players, Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, so important and impactful in creating their offense. But you said, I mean, they've got the all-time leading scorer in LeBron James, and it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for the Lakers because LeBron has done an exceptional job of really adjusting his role to become a little bit more of a facilitator and a third option. But now, as we know, Paris, he is certainly capable, even at his age, to elevate into a great scoring player, and that'll be a little bit more of his role. He'll be a lot more on the ball, have to create the offense a little bit more. The Lakers do have some good shooting options, and LeBron has always been one of the most elite players in NBA history at creating open threes for his teammates. So the ball will probably be in his hands a lot more than it has been lately, but I'm sure LeBron can snap back into that mindset pretty easily.
Another wrinkle to this, if you just want to zoom out a little bit for Oklahoma City, you're toggling back and forth between play styles. You go up against a team like tonight in the Utah Jazz, who are a very fast-paced team. They like to get out into the open court. They move the ball quickly. And then you got a Lakers team. They want to play slow. They want to be in the half court. So the ability to go back and forth and be adaptable is going to be a good test.
It's a great point. And as we saw in the game just the other night, the Lakers play as much zone as anybody in the NBA. They are not a strong defensive team, but they found a little bit of an identity by playing a lot of zone, trying to keep teams out of the paint, trying to make them shoot over the the top of them. They may adjust some of that even too, because Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, some of that zone purpose was to kind of try to accommodate for them. So maybe they adjust their scheme. So it could be a different look and something kind of unexpected that the Thunder will have to deal with when they play the Lakers.
Nonetheless, a really good test for the Thunder as they head out on their final road trip of the regular season. 3 games on the road, and it starts out in Hollywood, squaring off against the